Hey guys, I recently posted a video kind of demoing a tone I've been working on in Helix, and I kind of wanted to run through the tone and kind of show you guys what's going on, and maybe also a little bit on how the Helix works. So here it is, and I'm in Helix Edit, and also anything you do in Helix Edit also works on the screen of the Helix. You can see them changing together. And also, you can use thumbstick. So you got your inputs. The default is multi, so that's taken in the guitar, an auxiliary input, and the Variax input. I don't think it makes any difference. I just switch it to guitar. One of the nice things about the Helix is you have noise gate right on the input. So I have that applied. Clamping down pretty good. Typically, I have the decay all the way down. I don't know why it's up, probably because I was messing with it. Next in line, pretty typical, pretty standard. The emulation of the Ibanez Tube Screamer. Nothing crazy going on here. It's more just a boost. The tone is pretty modest. A lot of people crank it up. For this tone, I didn't feel like I needed to do so, but the level, as you can see, is dimed. Next up in the chain is another noise gate, just to kind of keep that distortion pedal under control. And again, I think I have almost the identical settings. Yeah, threshold's the same. Like I said, it's basically just to keep that OD pedal under control. The next block in the line is the Peavy Panama, which is, of course, a model of the Peavy 5150. And here are the settings. I'm not going to really kind of go through that too much. Basically, I just, I played around with it as if it was a real amp. I was just... And I would just, dial in these knobs right here. You kind of turn away from the computer and just act like it's an amp, fiddle with the knobs. You get a little more out of it. One thing I have noticed is that, as you can see, there's 10 steps between each one. 2.1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See? These increments make a big difference. On certain amps, certain amp models, certain pedals, you go up 0.2, 0.3, you can definitely hear a difference. So, make subtle changes and you may find that it's yielding better results. So obviously it looks like it's pretty scooped, but I don't think the lows are too out of control. Even with the resonance that high, and it's probably because of the cab impulses that I have selected. And I did go through all of these, and I read the manual on what these do. Can I recite that back to you right now? No, I can't. So, again, like I said in one of my other videos, read the manual. Go through the manual as you're toying with it. I found it to be immensely useful. And I have 2 IR blocks. So basically what you do is create one impulse block, load your impulse, then you add another, and then you can just drag it down here, and it puts in these splits for you, which is nice. And there are a few different ones to choose from. This crossover is nice when you're developing a bass tone. You can send the highs up one stream and the lows down to another. I just have your basic typical split right here. For the impulses, I'm using Ownhammer Impulses. It's the 412 angle. It's an angle 412 of vintage 30s. I ended up using the impulse that has the mics in the Friedman approach. Basically, that's In this case, it's a 57, so it's two SM57s, one straight and one at a 45-degree angle. Look it up, Friedman microphone, SM57. This is a model of that on this Angle 412 with vintage 30s. And then I have the Sennheiser 421, same amp, same cab, and if you go to this split, you can see the levels. I do have this lower cab turned down just a little bit, almost 2 dBs. And again, I just did that by touch. And the nice thing is, take a look over here, you can just play with the dial, and that's what I did. Until I felt like I had a good balance of what I was looking for. And that's it. That's literally it. And then of course, as I'm recording, and then literally that's it for the patch itself. Now there is one thing I ended up doing, and that's in the global EQ settings, and I'll show you how to get there on the rack. So you're gonna hit this button and you get your menu, global EQ. These knobs act as buttons, just push in. These knobs act as buttons, so just push it. And here's our global EQ settings. Now, apparently I'm a huge nerd, and I was reading through some of the literature that came with my Ownhammer Impulses, and it suggested to scoop out a certain range, basically to give it a more realistic feel and sound. So that's what I did. That's how I recorded it. And I think it turned out pretty goddamn good, so I think it works. I think they're onto something. And I pretty much just used the settings they said to do. I want to say the Ownhammer literature said to do a 4 dB cut at 400 hertz. I went a little less than that. I went 3 dB. And I set the Q up basically so, and I'll show you in Helix Edit, you can bring up the global EQ and you get a nice visual of it. And I set it up so that I set the Q so that it pretty much starts sloping at 100 hertz. Again, that's what the literature said. And I have, the literature didn't say anything about this high cut. I just add that. I feel like it kind of gets rid of some of the hiss, some of the harshness, and you don't necessarily have to. I just did it. And then I have this high peak just kind of flattening it out, because without it, it sloped a little too hard. Now I have this applying only to the XLR outs, and that's how I'm recording. You can bypass it here, or you can just bypass it here. To get back home, press the home button. We can just get rid of this. And that's it. One more thing, I have the volume at noon. I felt like that just worked better going into the Apollo. yeah, so that's it. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll get to it. I'll try to. And I got a bunch of other patches I'm working on. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Do what you want to do. Like, subscribe. I don't care. I'm doing these videos for fun. And I just hope they help somebody. And I'll see you guys in the next one.